What's up, everybody? FooserX here. I don't really feel like talking. I just thought I would videotape a brief practice session here. You kind of see I'm missing some of my pull sides. Why is that? Because I've been cranking the fuck out of push sides. That push side is pretty invisible right now. And so I'm going to go back to my pull side, which is actually the side I really like, actually. You see that's almost dead row. Balls get stuck in here because I was hitting it so hard that it bent the back, so they just kind of sit back there. And you're kind of thinking like, why are you quick shooting so much? Is that gonna mess up your timing? Are you gonna start quick shooting? No, the reason I like to quick shoot in practice is because it teaches me to be able to go whenever I want to see the hole. So it's not necessarily that I want to quick shoot when I sit on it, it's when I see the hole. So if I'm just imagining that. But ideally you want to sit on it and wait, read the D, maybe kind of like fake out a couple times. Yeah, every now and then, even if you're practicing one side, you gotta keep yourself honest and go back to that other side. Otherwise, your body starts making adjustments to start hitting the side you're practicing a lot. So you definitely gotta work that other side every now and then. You definitely see it too. I'm definitely not hitting that as well as I should be, but that's why we're practicing. You guys can't see it too. I mean, you'll never know. Like when I'm setting it up right here, I'm imagining a defense moving and bobbing and in here when I'm just rocking. Like I'm not just sitting here rocking. Like I'm picturing a defense and timing it. Sometimes that's why you're missing, because you're kind of juking yourself out. It's always one side's automatic. And with Robbie, whole side's automatic. I feel like my pull side's automatic, but man, that push side feels really good. Just switch it up here. It's almost dead row on the push. Got a little middle. No, we got to go deeper. So look at that, like that man, again, should be pre-programmed. The second he comes into this green part, we should be going on both sides. Keep ourselves honest too. Missing some of these because I'm trying to put a little bit more focus on smoothing out my takeoff, so it's kind of changing up my stroke a little bit, making it a little bit different. This is why I'm just an expert, sometimes a pro. I feel like pro masters would be hitting 20 out of 20. That's not me. That's the worst, is like if we're hitting the man, that's not good, because that means we're not getting that toss really deep out there. Like I'd rather hit the wall than the man. So yeah, that's bad. So the other thing I'm doing here too is when I'm shooting, I'm looking at the corner. I'm not looking at this dude. I think that might be an issue here, because you're not really looking at how you're tossing it out there. You're kind of spraying it because you're more looking at that hole maybe. I'm gonna try a few more of these because I'm getting stubborn. Still, I'm looking at the corner. I'm not looking at this guy. That felt really bad. Oh, yeah. That's me slowing up the stroke just a bit, just to make sure I know I can hit that, but I don't like going slow. But I don't like missing either, so maybe I gotta find a middle ground here. Yeah, that's the sweet spot right there. Very little tell. Just go when you see it. And then once you really get it going, then you want to make sure you can hit it without rocking. God, I used to do that really good, but now not so much. You want to have that in your arsenal because sometimes when you stop that ball, they're going to stop their defense. Just like that. Maybe you could do like a stutter to get them to freeze. And then you go. Not good. That's not good. Maybe I'll go back to the 5-row just to get that bad taste out of my mouth. Yeah. That's the Edgeworth series, that really high release point where you're straight lane, way high, and then you got that super steep down, and then you got that fast wall if they cheat a little bit. I know a lot of people say, oh, you gotta do 50, you gotta do 100 of these. I don't, because I did thousands of these when I was learning how to play. I just don't have time to sit here and do 100 of these. I just want to make sure I'm hitting my passes. That's the money rod. I mean, yeah, you gotta have a really great 5-row, but you gotta have a 3-row that makes people shit their pants. And that's not what mine is doing right now. Definitely getting a little hesitant up here. When you get hesitant, then you just gotta start cranking off a whole bunch. There you go. There you go, Scott. That's when it feels just effortless, like you're not even throwing it out there. I feel like I'm kind of cheating now because when I'm looking over here to go around that dude, which isn't bad because you're gonna get that deep, and it makes it really easy to go around that guy. But ideally, I always like to be looking in the hole because that's where you're actually wanting to shoot. Yep, that's the difference. After we start cranking a couple on the side we want to practice, make sure we always go back to that other side. Oh man, that's fast. Very good speed there. And you can see too, like, if I pull it in a little bit off dead row, I mean like dead row, like here's dead row. I don't want to practice that. This is probably what you should be practicing when you're a pro or like high expert, like almost dead row. But if you pull it in even like a finger width, a little bit less, I mean, that's like huge. You really should be hitting that every single time. That's kind of like an ego booster. Man. Like if you're missing a lot, you kind of just bring that dude in. know some people say, like, just practice a pass, then a shot. No, man, we just want to do rapid fire. We really got to get that muscle memory in here. I felt really good. It looked pretty deep, so I'll like move that dude out there a little bit more. I almost feel like I'm giving something away too with my body, so I'm gonna try to smooth that out. Take my time. Ooh, that felt really good. Again, I hate quick shooting, but sometimes you gotta have that in your arsenal. Ugh, did not even feel good. That's the worst, is when you go to shoot that and it doesn't even feel right, and then you mis-execute it, because, I mean, it's one thing to not hit it, but it feels good, and it's another thing to know it feels off, and then you miss it, because that's a bummer. This is grinding, you know, when you're not hitting it as well as you should be, you're not cranking off like at least five, you should be at least hitting 5 in a row. I mean, much less like 10. You watch people like Napton, all the masters, they could probably crank out like 20 in a row. Shit, man, that's not me. So you're just grinding them out here, just trying to get those reps in. Now I'm almost like a little hesitant. I start missing a lot. That's exactly what happens in a match. You start missing some, you kind of lose a little bit of confidence, then you just gotta be okay with it. Like, hey man, gotta put in your dues. But try it again. Consolation prize is, hey, you know, you're missing it, but that dude's almost dead row. That's a very tough stroke to hit. When you hit that shot on defenses, that's a good shot. And then when you really start feeling it, then you can kind of start dribbling it, but that's not my game. Like, if you can't score just by setting it up in the middle, like, you got work to do, either on your mechanics or how you're reading the defense. Man, right now it's definitely my mechanics. This was all you mofos out there should be doing right now. Now we can't play in tournaments because of Corona. You should all be on your table doing drills until you could just blast this every time. Is anybody even watching this now? I don't know. I feel like I would be if I was just now learning how to play. Can't get enough of foosball. Fucking watch an hour and a half of somebody just doing ball control drills. I think now maybe fatigue is setting in, so maybe now we should probably go to the 5-row. But you can't ever leave on a bad note. Like, you always have to leave on a good note. And I don't like to leave on one good note. I like to leave at least on 2, because 1 could be a fucking fluke. And you walk away and you're like, was that just a fluke? I don't know. Oh shit. Five-bar hack is suffering. That's why I'm laid off it so long. Fast wall suffering. Sometimes too, you just gotta work on that toss. You know, when you snap it off like that, nothing feels better. You have to have 0 giveaway, 0 tells. At least on one side. You know, I was watching some of Billy's shots, Pappas, he was doing a 3-bar tutorial. I would definitely look that up. His is so smooth. It's awesome, but not everybody can have that. Well, you do need at least one side that's unerasable. I feel like that looks good, but I can feel in my shoulder I'm still giving that shot away. There you go. And again, that's a conscious effort to make sure my shoulder isn't dipping or hitching before I go. Let's end this on a good note. Not good. That's not good, Scott. You gave it away and you went short. That's absolutely not good. Double short. And then you start hitting maybe 3 or 4 of those, and you start getting in your own head again, and then you start going hesitant. That's why you always got to make sure you shoot both sides pretty equally. It's funny too when you're cranking these out at home. There's no recoil. You don't need to. So what's the difference then? You get in a match and you start recoiling a little bit because you're cranky. You're playing somebody else. You want to let them know, like, hey, like, I'm not a pushover. Like, this is a very aggressive, competitive sport. Sometimes you need to it just comes out. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with the recoil. Alright, I get to bed, I gotta wake up early, but that's a normal practice session for me, and then I kind of rotate days. Like today was a 3-bar day. Tomorrow's probably going to be ball control and fibro drills, and then the next day will be 2 bars. Alright dudes, laters.